Sportsline Player of the Year. I'm Steve Schneider along with Jacques Doucet, and normally we gather for an inspiring in-person banquet to celebrate the great accomplishments of these high school athletes. We hope to get back to that next year.
No doubt about it, Steve, but the plus side, or the silver lining, we're coming to you tonight on WAFB like we've been doing every Friday night in the fall for 31 years on Sportsline. These are the 9 finalists for the 2020 Warrick Dunn Awards. Over the next hour, we'll share their stories, their triumph, and of course, we'll crown a winner. We've got state champions, high-profile recruits, and all-around athletes all vying for the same prize tonight. All right, we'll start the night with one of the seniors who led Madison Prep to its first ever state title in football. Tyrell Ravey is going to play his college ball at Memphis, but tonight he's our first finalist for this year's Warrick Dunn Award for Sportsline Player of the Year. WAFB's Kevin Baptiste has his story.
Playing football requires a dog mentality. To hear one of the loudest barks in the park, look no further than Madison Prep's Tyrell Ravey.
We're just going on each other. So I just feel like I had him. I feel like I could make him flinch.
One of Louisiana's most versatile athletes, Ravey got into the end zone just about every way possible last season, scoring 2 touchdowns on defense, 7 return touchdowns on special teams, and 10 touchdowns as a receiver.
It just feels good to be able to score in like offense, defense, kickoff return. It just feels good to being able to change the momentum of the game on any phases.
A lot of kids, they like the thought of being great, but when the moment arrives, they're not really ready to handle it. But not with Tyrell. He's looking to make a play each and every time he's out there on the field.
Though filling up the stat sheet on offense, Ravey got his main serving at cornerback, a position that the 6'1", 180-pounder did not start playing until his sophomore year.
You see kids, have good instincts, just a lot of natural attributes that he had coming into the game, into the practice. I was like, this kid gonna be special.
There was older DBs, but like I work out with them every day, work on my technique, watch highlights. Jalen Ramsey, Champ Bailey, I watch all their highlights.
It's a tight brotherhood at Madison Prep. All that work and bonding paid off as the Chargers won their first ever football state championship in school history, something that the Memphis signee will always carry with him.
It was turned. It was happy. That's what we've been working for. And to beat the team that broke all our hearts, it felt good.
I love him. He's going to be well missed just because he is a friendly guy. He enjoys competition, but you know, it's just gonna be different not having him around because he's just that kind of kid.
I just feel like I'm the best. I just keep the same dog mentality. I ain't afraid of nobody. So it just carried on, and it's gonna keep carrying on when I go to Memphis.
Jacques, I think the thing that jumps out to me about Tyrell Raby, this was a big playmaker. Like all year long, he would show up in the big moments and make those big plays, those highlight plays. So our viewers certainly saw plenty of number 7 during the year.
No doubt about it. And so versatile. Did so many things there for Madison Prep. Look forward to watching him at the next level at Memphis.
Going to be wearing blue for the Tigers, their top recruiting class this past year, and there were some Louisiana guys certainly on there. Now, we normally honor our Sportsline Players of the Week at our banquet, so we're doing that here. No better place to start. Raby's Madison Prep teammate. That would be quarterback ZEON Chris, our only 2-time winner during the 2020 season. Staying with our state champion theme, the Catholic High Bears claimed another one this year.
That's right. They were led by a senior safety who has an eye for the football and knows how to make big plays. Our second finalist, Michael Chernauskas.
They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. But we could add a couple more to describe Michael Chernauskas.
Physical. Very physical.
Physical.
Intense.
There's definitely a switch that gets flipped on game day in particular, and even at practice sometimes. It's just a different ultra-competitive person that comes out. It's just like an extra edge, different level of intensity. I mean, it's fun. Like, I enjoy hitting people hard and watching them lay on the ground after.
Before he got to Catholic High, it was not a role Chernauskas expected to play.
He had played quarterback his whole elementary school career. I remember bringing him in my office as a freshman.
It's a very vivid memory getting called into that office. I was a little disappointed I wasn't going to be the quarterback or whatever, but something that my parents had always instilled in me was team first, and if the team needed me to play safety, that's what I was going to do, and it worked out pretty well for me.
The quarterback of the defense, it's cliche, but if you went to one of our practices and just stood behind the defense, the conversation and the communication that Michael was having with everybody, if they moved to 3-by-1, we're checking the mini. If they do this, he had every check and everything down. Without a guy like Michael back there, there's no way that we could have done as much as we did. And to say he was the quarterback of the defense, it's not cliche because that's what he was.
And for this first-team All-State DB, how about another cliche? Student of the game.
He's able to react, you know, a step and a half quicker because he studies the game.
Because that's 100% in your control, how much film you watch, how much studying you do the other team, how well you know them.
You put all of those things together, and you end up with a guy who's had a career like he's had.
He's been a ball hawk. His interception sealed the deal in the state title game.
You're on defense, you're not supposed to have the ball, and you take it away from the offense. That's a good time getting to kind of rub it in, and we do it at practice too. Take away from the offense, kind of rub it in, and throw some shade on them.
Most Bears fans will never forget his role in a dramatic 2019 win at Memorial Stadium.
I saw the ball in there and everything started slowing down. I was like, all right, just catch it. That's all you got to do. Just make the play, don't drop it.
90-something yards where he outran the entire Edna Card offense.
We needed something to kind of change the momentum and get us going in the right direction. I kept going. I was like, okay, there's no one in front of me. Just do not get caught. Like, you better turn it on.
Something he would do in the stretch run of a 2020 championship season.
I was crying like a little baby, running around to all my friends that I've been playing with for 4 years.
When you talk about willing a team to a championship, if you put the whole roster up there and said of these guys, who was the driving force, just sheer will getting the team to the championship, he'd be the guy at the top.
And Steve, personally, I hope I pronounced his name a lot better than the first time we saw it on Sportsline Friday night, but what a great young man on his way to Army. This young guy's got everything lined up.
He's a very quiet guy until he gets around his teammates. He certainly enjoys that environment, but a very humble guy, and it is going to be exciting to see where he goes from here.
No doubt about it. On the offensive side of the ball, Catholic wide receiver Shelton Sampson stepped up in a big way in the playoffs, winning Sportsline Player of the Week for his performance in the Bears' semifinal win over Brother Martin. He snagged 3 touchdowns, leaving no doubt about his talent. There's a rich history for the Warrick Dunn Award. Players like Eric Reed, Lael Collins, Jarvis Landry, Devontae Smith, and Patrick Queen, all finalists.
And tonight, Jacques, we're also going to take a look back at some of the winners and what has happened to them since their high school success. Terrence MAGEE won this award 10 years ago as a dual-threat quarterback out of Franklinton. He went on to score 12 rushing touchdowns in his career at LSU, getting the honor of wearing the number 18 jersey for the Tigers his senior year. Big hits and a bigger impact on the field are up next as we appreciate the defensive backfield, starting with one Central DB opposing coaches couldn't stop raving about.
And the U-High program looked a lot more like itself this past year thanks to the play of one standout safety.
My name is Chris Purvis, and on behalf of the physical therapists and athletic trainers at Peak Performance Physical Therapy, we are honored to be a sponsor of the Warrick Dunn Sportsline Player of the Year Award. One of the many reasons we're so passionate about supporting athletics are the many life lessons that sports can teach us. This past year was a great example. Every once in a while you have one of those rare games where just nothing seems to go right. You're 20-0, then you're 30-0, you're 50-0, and you're just wondering when it's going to end. Well, you get through the game a little battered and bruised, and you don't stop playing. You prepare yourself to keep it from happening again, and you move on. This past COVID season was one of those games, and we will move on to a lot more wins. To the nominees, once again, on behalf of Peak Performance Physical Therapy and all of the sports medicine physicians and athletic trainers, want to congratulate you on being nominated for this award and wish you best of luck in your future careers.
The Warrick Dunn Award Special is sponsored by the Bank of Zachary.
Bank of Zachary is the perfect mix of hometown and high-tech. Bank online, bank on the go with our mobile app, or bank face-to-face and get input and advice from an expert you know and trust. Bank the way you want to with Bank of Zachary.
So many finalists over the years for the Warrick Dunn Award have predictably come from some of the traditional powerhouse programs here in the Baton Rouge area. And here's a look at some of those schools with the most finalists over the last 14 years. Central leading the way with 8 finalists. Park View Baptist and U-High come in with 7. West Feliciana and Lutcher not far behind with 6 finalists each. The latest Central Wildcat to become a Warrick Dunn finalist, safety Davion Armstead.
The senior standout flew around the field making plays for the Wildcats all season. Here's a closer look.
It was the best 4 years of my life. I've been with them boys since I came to Central, so we always had that chemistry. Being with them, it was just the best. I felt like we had that chemistry and that bond to where we just wanted it more, you know? They had my back and I had theirs. Amazing coaching staff. They taught me everything I know, and without them, I wouldn't even be here, so.
Davion Armstead certainly made his share of big plays that appeared on Sportsline Friday night. But for Armstead, one of them stands above the rest.
The first play against Denham Springs. Came down, read the screen perfectly, came down, had a good hit, first play of the game.
The 6'1", 180-pound safety intercepting 7 passes during his senior year.
To me, I think I'm a ball hawk. I think I can do a lot of anything. I think I can play high, I think I can go cover, get in the box a little bit. I'd like to do a lot of things.
His knowledge of the game, I mean, being a coach on the field, you know, we get in the meeting room and he can spit the game plan back to me. He can tell me what's supposed to be going on, and he can also tell other people what they're supposed to be doing. And at the free safety spot in our defense, that was very important to know how to line people up, and he could make checks on the field according to different formations and be on the same page and kind of think the same way I do. That's the part that I think a lot of people don't see.
Armstead now taking his talents to TCU, looking to make a big impact at the collegiate level as well.
I think it's the best fit for me. I think going there, they're going to set me up in the best spot to go to the NFL, and not just the NFL, my academics.
And with that defense that they play at TCU, that 4-2-5, I think he'll be he'll play multiple roles in that defense.
Jacques, you know, Central head coach Sid Edwards was Warrick Dunn's really first high school coach if you go back to Catholic High, and he wasn't in that segment. He sent his defensive coordinator instead to do the interview, but early in his career, Sid Edwards' team's a lot of big offense, and lately at Central, a lot of the strengths of his teams for the Wildcats has been defense.
Yeah, and congratulations to him for hiring a great staff over the years and having so many Warrick Dunn Award finalists. Very nice accomplishment for the Central Wildcats.
Parkview Baptist on that list of previous finalists was led this year by senior quarterback Roman Muley. He won his Player of the Week award with a nearly perfect performance. Just 2 incompletions compared to 6 total touchdowns and almost 300 yards.
Taking a trip back in Warrick Dunn Award history, only one school has boasted 2 winners. That would be the Cubs of U High. You might remember this name from his days at LSU, the 2014 winner of the Warrick Dunn Award, Nick Brossette. He was also part of our Sportsline September to Remember 30 for 30 series as we look back at the best high school players the last 30 years. Brossette got his shot in the college ranks in a big way his senior year as a Tiger, 14 touchdowns and more than 1,000 yards rushing. Just 4 years later, Mike Hollins was our 2018 Warrick Dunn Award winner. He's now in Charlottesville as a sophomore with the University of Virginia Cavaliers. He opted out this past year but did score a touchdown on his first touch at UVA in 2019. Hollins had 3 touchdowns in that freshman campaign. Jordan Gilbert looking forward to becoming the 3rd Cubs star to take home the trophy.
The standout safety made big plays on both sides of the ball for U High. That's why he's our 4th finalist for the Warrick Dunn Award. Here's WAFB's Kevin Baptiste with his story.
A good way of describing him. Very quick, very explosive, big hitter.
U-High's Jordan Gilbert drew plenty of reactions like that over his prep career and did so in all 3 phases.
Very, very versatile. I'm an athlete, so if they need me to do whatever they need me to do, I'm going to do it.
Multiple touchdowns offense. On special teams, a lot of times they wouldn't kick the ball to him, which was a weapon for us because they didn't want the ball in his hands. So he impacted all 3 phases of the game for us, and that's big. And, you know, we try to get it to where we have two sets of starters, offense and defense, but he was a guy that was able to go both ways.
While having an impact in different areas of the game, Gilbert got the most attention at cornerback, finishing the 2020 season on the All-State first team and earning District 738 Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, one of the things we did with him was we moved him around a good bit. You know, he was in the middle of the field, but also we'd bring him up to the line, blitz him a little bit more this year, have him cover certain guys, you know, that type of stuff. So it really, we kind of kept him in different spots where it kept the offense guessing a little bit. Bruley game was, I think this year, on the first play of the game, he had a pick 6. And from that point on, we put the gas on, and I think he kind of set the tone right away. So that's one of the first ones that just comes out to my mind.
Gilbert is not shy about telling you where he is from. The Texas A&M signee is a native of White Castle, Louisiana, and he reps hard for the small Iberville Parish town. But Gilbert says deciding to attend high school 30 minutes across the river was one of the best decisions he made.
Just being in an environment that I didn't grow up in. So that helped me, like, connect with different people and, like, better myself.
Has been a really good vocal leader the last 2 years. You know, we've been a play or 2 away from getting to the championship game the last couple of years, and it's because of the play that he's had. You know, he's played really well. He's been a leader on and off the field for us, and it's been an honor to coach him.
What do you like to do off the field?
Probably go back to White Castle, spend time with family.
Jimbo Fisher, known for his offensive expertise, but he has lifted that mantra of being soft on defense in College Station. Jordan Gilbert hopes to make some big hits for the Aggies this fall.
Jock, I get questions all the time. How do you guys pick these finalists? How do you pick the winner? And a big part of that is talking to opposing head coaches who had to scheme and plan for these guys, saw their team go against these guys. Mr. Gilbert was talked highly of by a lot of opposing coaches this past season. The Episcopal Knights were pretty close to perfect this year, not losing a game until the playoffs. All that thanks to their outstanding backfield. Dylan Marotra could hand it to running back Ryan Armwood, who got off to a blazing start, piling up 12 touchdowns in his first 3 games. He tallied 4 to earn Player of the Week, adding 166 yards on just 10 carries. Later in the year, Knights running back Oliver Jack saved his best for the regular season finale. Chance to clinch the district, a perfect regular season. Jack picked up 3 touchdowns on the way to an Episcopal win.
A big man in the middle and a big man on campus. We're going to New Roads and Vacherie for our next set of finalists.
The Warrick Dunn Award Special is sponsored by Peak Performance Physical Therapy. The Warrick Dunn Award Special is sponsored by Ochsner Baton Rouge Sports Medicine Institute.
A duo from Donaldsonville making the most of a shorter season. Running backs Raylan Johnson and Robert Trent took home Player of the Week awards in Week 5. Those Tigers both ran for 200-plus yards and 3 touchdowns. And another duo for a different set of Tigers. East Iberville's Jaden and Jaquin Williams stepped up in the playoffs. The pair put the team on their back in the semifinals, and while it wasn't enough to get the win, the seniors walked off the field knowing they'd accomplished a lot in their time as Tigers. One of the best defensive players in the state wrecked the plans of opposing offenses on a regular basis and was really just an all-around disruptor for the St. James defense.
LSU signee SAIVION Jones is our next Warrick Dunn finalist.
Take in the towering presence of number 34 for St. James, and you can almost hear opponents say, "Where did this guy come from?"
We didn't know if he was going to play receiver or maybe an outside linebacker or safety type of guy. You know, we saw athletic ability and we saw a quiet, shy kid.
8th grade, you know, receivers, you know, get the most attention, cool, everybody wants to play it. I felt like I was tall enough to play and that's the position I wanted to play. But I actually jammed my thumb and couldn't play my 8th grade year, so I had to play my 9th grade. And then I had to get off the team because my grades was falling and my mama took me off. But when I got to 10th grade,
he hit a crazy growth spurt going to his sophomore year.
One of my teammates actually said, "You should try this position." And I'm like, I'll give it a try.
LSU signee SAIVION Jones says that early adversity made him the man he is today.
Any other football player that get taken off, they don't think they should. They think they should stay on the team. But after sitting down and thinking about it, I really get why she took me off, because academics always come first, and if you don't have the academics, it only makes sense to play football, because like you can't get that far in life just off football. You need academics too. After that, we didn't have to worry about my grades no more. You know, I stayed on top of them.
And the more SAIVION stayed on top of enemy ball carriers, the more they'd see opponents scheme to avoid his shadow.
A lot of creativity. We saw a lot of creativity. We saw a lot of trying to run away from him, a lot of trying to double him.
Jones had 75 tackles and 10 sacks in an abbreviated senior season.
We're a gap scheme defense. For him to have that much success in the backfield, that means that he's totally controlled his gap, read and react, and then was able to that quickly turn it on and be able to get back there.
I'm more of a hands-on person. If you show me how to do this, I'm gonna get down and I'm gonna copy you. I will learn it just as fast.
And though he didn't reach the 103 tackles, 13 for loss, 13 sacks, and 25 quarterback hurries of St. James' 2019 championship season, don't assume he didn't have lots of impact in 2020.
I feel like I need to be wherever the team most need me, so if I need to play from special team, I'll most definitely do that. For a big guy, like, I'm huge, you know, 6'5", 245, but I still keep that speed, you know, running a 4.5 in the 40s. You don't see that in every lineman, every big person, and I find that one of my, you know, specialties, being able to keep that speed while still gaining weight.
All right, LSU, of course, has a new defensive line coach, Andre Carter, and he will be looking to work SAIVION into his plans coming up.
And certainly the LSU defense needs to rebound in a big way this year. Hopefully this guy could see the field his first year as a Tiger.
No doubt. Ed Hill loves his defensive linemen. Meanwhile, the high school basketball season is wrapping up, and one of our next finalists was a slam dunk to make it to our final 9.
And we'll hear from Warrick Dunn, his message to the players who got through a season like no other.
While we interviewed all the coaches and players for this year's special, some had a lot to say about Warrick Dunn.
He is the namesake for the trophy after all, and he has definitely had an impact on so many.
Certainly a guy being from Louisiana, he's somebody that I've always looked up to, been a fan of him as a player, but as you learn more about him as a person, definitely somebody that you admire and look up to.
He's a great example for all of these guys of, you know, football is just the platform. And I think Warrick's done a great job of using that platform to be of significance and give back to his community.
It's deep in his heart, and sometimes you feel like people do things just for the notoriety, and that's certainly not Warrick. You know, he's been that type of guy his whole life. He's just in a position now where he can do those things. Even when he does those things, you can tell he's not real comfortable with the limelight of people constantly, you know, telling him how great he is and all that kind of stuff. That's just not him.
Seems like every week on Sportsline you heard this name, Matthew Langlois. The do-it-all man from Catholic of Point Capee got his player of the week for putting up 3 touchdowns, including a game-winning pick 6. It was a shortened season for Langlois, but he scored a touchdown, then another touchdown, then another for the Hornets of Catholic Point Capee.
Really, anytime we showed highlights from New Roads, you were going to hear the name Langlois, and he made such an impact on Friday nights. Of course, he's a Warrick Dunn Award finalist.
Catholic Point Capee's Matthew Langlois found himself on the field as an 8th grader, and it wouldn't take him long to grow up and do basically everything from everywhere.
You know, running back, wide receiver, you know, he's played safety, he's played linebacker for us, you know, he's played cornerback, he's been all over the place for us. He's the all-time leading scorer. He almost doubled up Nathan Carrier, who's the 2nd all-time leading scorer in our history. He's the 2nd all-time leader in interceptions, 16 career interceptions, 2nd all-time leading rusher in career history. He's statted in basically every defensive category that you possibly could.
Although he didn't win a state title, Langlois led the Hornets to their first state championship game appearance in over 4 decades during his junior season.
That was probably my favorite year ever playing football. I've been playing since I was 4 years old, so that's a lot for me. But making it to the Dome was a huge part of my life, all my teammates' lives.
During his senior campaign, a last-second pick 6 fans will be talking about for years to come.
First district game this year, Sacred Heart of Ville Platte. It's the last play of the game, about 9 seconds left. And instead of taking a knee, they tried to heave one deep. Well, it turned out to be a mistake. You know, Matthew went and high-pointed the ball and took it away from somebody, broke about 15 tackles. I mean, it's the greatest run I've seen since Billy Cannon.
Now Langlois is determined to prove the kid from New Roads can hold his own at LSU and establish his own special place in the storied history of DBU.
Tyrann Mathieu is my favorite player. That's why I wear 7. You know, I'm going to come in there with a chip on my shoulder. I got to just show him what I'm about. I want to come in, you know, kind of as the underdog, show him how hard I work, and I'm going to do what the coaches tell me and work as hard as anyone.
He's always lived with that chip on his shoulder, but to know that he's coming in there from a smaller school and maybe not getting the ratings of some of those other guys, you know, I think he's going to be hungry to go out there and improve himself.
And Steve, Coach Semino pointed out to me LSU's national championship teams in 2003, 2007. The starting safeties were Jack Hunt and Craig Steltz, and he feels like Langlois cut out of that same mold.
And look, every year when these guys are seniors, people already know about them. They scheme to maybe diminish their effect in a football game, but the real stars stand out, even if they're not maybe piling up the stats or having the same impact and highlights on a Friday night. And certainly Matthew Langlois, that was the case with him this past season.
No doubt about it. Langlois and the Hornets faced off in Week 2 against another Sportsline Player of the Week, GAGE LARVADAIN of Riverside Academy. All LARVADAIN did was put up 291 yards rushing in a wild win over the Rebels, scoring 5 touchdowns, including the game winner with just seconds to go. LARVADAIN is a 2-sport star, putting up points on the hardwood and the gridiron.
The senior for Riverside made some eye-popping plays on his way to becoming a Warrick Dunn finalist. WAFB's Kevin Baptiste takes a look.
When Kevin Dizer was named Riverside head coach in 2018, Gage LARVADAIN was his first starting quarterback. He was also Dizer's first example.
We've got to dress a certain way in practice, and one of my things was socks. You know, kids like these crazy socks and all of that stuff. And so I wanted to send a message to the entire team that if I'll get Gage, you better believe I'm going to get everybody else.
It was a rainy day. I had on the royal blue socks again. You only could wear black or white socks to practice. And I had been getting away with it like I wore them 3 times. I got away with it the first 2. And the 3rd time, he wasn't having it this time.
Gage, I see you got those socks on again. And he knows it's time.
He made me roll in the water. I rolled all the way down the field, and I rolled all the way back. And then I had to finish practice muddy.
That's probably the one time where I can honestly say if he could have fought me, he probably would have.
With the correct color of socks and some depth behind him, LARVADAIN became Riverside's do-it-all guy, splitting time at quarterback, wide receiver, and defensive back. He finished his senior season racking up 2,400 yards on offense, scoring 33 touchdowns with 24 tackles on defense.
Wherever I thought I could make the biggest play, or wherever I thought the play that the team needed for me to make, that's where I kind of went to him and was like, I think I need to be there, or where he thought I needed to be. So it was not, I didn't prefer a specific position. It was just kind of whatever needed to be done.
Getting it done like in week 2 at Catholic Point Capee, while dealing with a knee injury.
Down 3. But kicking a field goal certainly wasn't an option. We get to the final timeout, and Gage comes limping up to me, and he doesn't even say anything to me. He just inserts himself in the huddle, and I know what that means, and we give him the ball. He walks it in the end zone.
But the gridiron is not the only place LARVADAIN makes a living. He also excelled on the hardwood as a point guard for the Rebels basketball team, closing out his senior year with a Division IV semifinal berth.
Kobe Bryant, he talks about how he was willing to be different. I was willing to take people and stuff out of his life in order to win. So winning definitely isn't easy. And I just think when I go on the basketball court, I just want to win. And it's just whatever you have to do in order to win, that's just what I have to do.
You know, Jacques, of all the finalists this year, I think this guy reminds me the most of Warrick Dunn. Such a tiny guy. Now, you know, Warrick Dunn got plenty of major offers and ended up at Florida State, but this guy just brings it, and not just in a competitive way, but a physical way, despite being so small.
Did Warrick Dunn hoop?
He did not, but he did a lot of track, I can tell you that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, we're getting close to announcing a winner, and don't think we forgot about the wideouts, those wide receivers, a couple of 5A standouts still to come.
The Warrick Dunn Award Special is sponsored by Ochsner Baton Rouge Sports Medicine Institute. The Warrick Dunn Award Special is sponsored by Ochsner Baton Rouge Sports Medicine Institute.
Did you know the 2015 winner of the Warrick Dunn Award is lighting it up in spring football? Lindsey Scott redshirted at LSU before leading East Mississippi Community College to a JUCO National Championship. The former Zachary quarterback now leading the Nicholls State Colonels, one of the top programs in this year in the FCS. One of the best playmakers on the field this year, also a Zachary Bronco. Our next Warrick Dunn finalist is Chris Hilton.
The wide receiver, a threat to take it to the house every time he touched the ball.
It's respect, earning 5A first-team All-State when your team canceled 3 games for COVID and hurricanes, and you missed 2 with contact tracing.
He's the guy that's made huge plays for us over the course of his career, alongside with just being a down-to-earth, great teammate.
I'm always looking to set my teammates in the right direction and lead them the right way. Like, I don't talk much, but I let my actions do the talking.
Catching 200 balls on the jug machine daily. I watched it every single day.
I don't want to sound cocky, but sometimes you're a lot better than the people that's on the field, and then as you get older, it kind of levels out. So now you actually to do something that sets yourself apart.
Championship sprinting and jumping also sets this 4-star LSU signee apart.
Blazing speed and athleticism and explosiveness and all the things that you see when I've watched him, participate in any other sport, and I think what track has done for Chris is the ability to put him right next to someone else and say, all right, there's going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser.
And Hilton was that difference in the final seconds of 2018's title game thriller with West Monroe.
I think the biggest thing that he had to work on was acknowledging the fact that it's okay to be the guy. As a sophomore, I had to bring him in a couple times and say, Chris, listen, it's okay to go make big-time plays. I mean, go be that guy if you're feeling that. It's been impressive to watch, without question. Certainly glad we had the opportunity to watch him.
Steve, that screen pass to win the state championship for Zachary, I don't think I'll ever forget that play. Amazing.
Nor will he. And interesting fact, Chris Hilton Sr. was a track guy who ran on a competing track team to Betty Smothers' KY team, of course, was started, and of course Warrick Dunn and all his family ended up competing for the same track team. So you just never know those connections.
Unreal. Well, from one future Tiger playmaker to the next one, we're getting closer to naming our 2020 Warrick Dunn Award winner, and we'll give you a look at some of the players who are next up.
The Warrick Dunn Award Special is sponsored by the Bank of Zachary.
Welcome back to the show. Jacques, I think you'd agree, Brian Thomas definitely stood out for the Walker Wildcats during what was admittedly a tough season for his team.
His production kept the Wildcats in a lot of games, and it makes him our 9th Warrick Dunn Award finalist for 2020.
As a freshman, Brian Thomas was the MVP of the 5A State Basketball Championship as Walker beat Landry Walker in overtime. Thomas would star in basketball for 3 seasons, but eventually his ability to fast break on grass would overcome a future in hoops.
Football was really my first love. Football has always been my favorite sport since I was little. I mean, I just know where I want to be with this football.
Thomas stands 6'4" and says he's up to 200 pounds these days. He was the total package for the Wildcats on Friday nights and often a worst nightmare for opposing defenses.
I think he's got a really unique gift or unique blend of a size that you would look for, an ability to go up and get the ball, but breakaway speed, you know, which sometimes the bigger guys struggle with. And also what I think is also unique is kind of that make you miss and ability to come out of tight spaces. And again, that's something you kind of see with the smaller guys typically. So you put all that together, and then, you know, we really put the pads on and started seeing how physical he was. And so that's what I think really makes him, you know, a unique package.
I feel like I'm a very physical wide receiver. I can catch a 4-yard pass, turn it into like a 70-yard touchdown pretty fast. I guess it's really just natural talent. I mean, just playing in the backyard and stuff, just trying to do moves and stuff just to get away from people. I guess it just comes out on the field.
Now, after a grueling and long recruiting process that went down to the wire, Thomas will suit up for the Fighting Tigers of LSU.
It's home, atmosphere at the school, parents can come to every game. The football team is pretty good every year, great offensive scheme.
The things that you really don't know usually as a college coach probably is just what kind of character you're going to have, or is this guy going to be somebody you're always up at night worried about? And I think that's, you know, one of the best things Brian's got going for him is he's a guy that, you know, kind of stays out of trouble, is really just trying to be the best athlete and player and person he can be, and so I think he's going to do really well at LSU.
Jacques, there's certainly a couple of positions that you play in football where the people can scheme against you. Defensive back, don't throw your way, as in Derek Stingley Jr. And this guy, Brian Thomas, teams could take him away if they knew he was a dangerous threat, especially with the passing game not living up to maybe past seasons.
So now at LSU, he'll get some help from Keishon Butte, Jeray Jenkins, some of those guys, and this new offense with some new coaches over there at LSU, Jake Peets and DJ Mangus. Now, in the meantime, so many young, talented players stepped up for their team and earned Player of the Week awards this year. It was a good season for underclassmen.
Most definitely. We mentioned Madison Prep ZEON Chris at the top of the show, along with Catholic High Shelton Sampson. Here's a few more that we will be watching. West Feliciana junior wide receiver Aeneas LeMay turned it on toward the end of the season, winning Player of the Week honors with 200-plus receiving yards and 3 touchdowns, spoiling his opponent senior night. Zachary's had a strong history of quarterbacks and receivers lately. We just talked about one, but look out for this running back. Connor Wisham put up a career-high 264 yards rushing for Player of the Week, a crucial long touchdown in the second half for a Bronco playoff victory.
Staying in the backfield, but over at Estruma, Le'Veon Moss rushed for over 1,200 yards as a sophomore, and as a junior put up big numbers in a first-round playoff win for the Indians, rushing for 265 yards and 5 touchdowns. And dual-threat junior quarterback J.J. Doherty of Albany took home our Week 1 Player of the Week for a big rivalry win to kick off the season in October. It's virtually a no-brainer when you put up 6 touchdowns and nearly 300 yards of total offense.
We've shown you the 9 finalists, but there can only be one winner. Who will become the 14th winner of the Warrick Dunn Award for Sportsline Player of the Year? Find out next.
The Warrick Dunn Award special is sponsored by Peak Performance Physical Therapy. Courage Award is sponsored by Ochsner Baton Rouge Sports Medicine Institute.
For several years now, we've presented another special award at our Warrick Dunn banquet, and tonight it goes to a teammate of one of our finalists, a full 8 inches shorter, but with a big heart for the game of football. St. James senior Caleb Brown, starting linebacker 3 years at 5'7", 5'8", and 5'9", who suffered more than a half dozen injuries but kept coming back, takes home our 2020 Courage Award. We'll present his story Wednesday night on 9 News at 6:30. Congratulations, Caleb.
So here they are again, the 9 finalists for this year's Warrick Dunn Award, an amazing group of high school seniors who brought great pride to their schools and families. It's been fun to sit down with all of them in this process. They're all winners in our book, but only one that can take home the big trophy tonight.
And there's no one better to speak to these great finalists and announce the winner than Warrick Dunn himself. Take it away.
Congratulations to all the Player of the Week winners and finalists this year. I'm sorry we couldn't be together to celebrate this moment. And I know 2020 was a challenging year for all of us. We all had obstacles to overcome. We couldn't spend time with our friends. We couldn't see family members. It just changed our lives completely. But I'm challenging each and every one of you not to give up. Stay committed. Think about the things that you want in life. What are you going to sacrifice to be great? I would challenge all of you guys to keep your eye on the prize. Stay resilient, stay committed, and you can reach your goals if you really want to. This is your opportunity. Take advantage of it. Don't let the moment pass you by. Okay? All right, so now it is my pleasure to close by naming out the 2020 Warrick Dunn Award winner as Sportsline Player of the Year, SAIVION Jones of St. James Wildcats. Congratulations.
Thank you.
SAIVION, what does it mean? What's going through your head now being named the Warrick Dunn Award winner?
You know, it's pretty excited to be named the Warrick Dunn Award winner. You know, going against other people and being able to come out top, that's pretty amazing.
Now, I don't know if you know this, but we've never had a winner before that didn't play offense. We've had a couple of defensive guys, Landon Collins, Kendall Beckwith. They were stars at Alabama, LSU, moved on to the NFL, but they played a lot of offense. What can you say about breaking the mold? You're the first lineman to win the Warrick Dunn Award.
That's a pretty amazing thing for a lineman that play defense to be able to win the award because, you know, there's a lot of playmaking on offense, and this is a very special moment right now.
SAIVION, LSU's got a lot of veteran defensive linemen coming back. Glenn Logan, Neil Farrell Jr., Ali Gay rushing quarterbacks off the edge. What can you say about joining all these guys and then some of the younger guys like Jaquelin Roy, who played at U-High just down the street?
It would be amazing, you know, being able to study under veterans like them, being able to learn from them, and they're able to tell me the mistakes they made and being able to watch them play and learn from them.
SAIVION, speaking of being under other guys, St. James took home this award last year. Shamar Smith, the quarterback and all-around performer, your teammate. We've only ever had one other school win this award twice. We've never had it back-to-back. What can you say about making history that way and about Shamar and maybe his leadership before you stepped into your senior year?
Yesterday I actually called him and I was like, you know, what's it like winning this award? And he described it, and he told me how it was, how it felt after, how it felt winning the award. and I really look up to him.
SAIVION, your new head coach at Ogeron, we know he's got a history. D-line is his thing, but in high school, what did it mean to you to have a former lineman as your head coach, taking you along the way here?
It's great to have a former lineman taking me because, you know, they know what to do. They know how to get me right and to, you know, build me up to be able to play the next level.
SAIVION, in our interview, you mentioned you have a pet named Marty. It's a bearded dragon that you got as a birthday present from a friend. Will this trophy take a spot in your room next to Marty?
Yep. I'm gonna take a picture with him right on the side of him.
Robert Valdez, bearded dragon and all, this guy has been a special package for the St. James Wildcats.
He really has, and you know, it's been a wonder to coach him, and just excited for him and for his family and our community. And you know, we're going to miss him. He has such a high ceiling, and all the things that he's able to accomplish for us, and you know, just all-around great kid. Didn't take much to manage him. He just did everything we asked him to do and gave us his best, and just an ambassador of how we want things to be done, and a role model person. And just really, really excited for him and our program.
Coach, what kind of player is LSU getting moving forward, and how much are you looking forward to see him play at the next level?
You know, you just got to come see him at the track meets. He's running the 200. That's what you're running now, the 200?
The 400.
The 400, yeah, he's a track guy. No, they're getting a phenomenal kid. Just a guy that loves to compete, accepts coaching, embraces the culture, and things that, and the ceiling is high, 6'5", 240 pounds, that can run like a running back, a receiver, plays very well with his hands, very versatile, and I'm just excited, you know, just to be able to go watch him play and see his development, because I still think he has a high ceiling, and you know, it's just great. You know, LSU has had a history of coming into St. James and getting some really good ball players throughout the years, and he's going to continue that legacy, and you know, hopefully open the doors up for others to come.
All right, sounds like Kiki Mingo, right? The track, rushing the quarterback, playing D-line. Look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, Will Wade might want to recruit him. He was telling us in his interview he played basketball, dunking last year, doing windmills this year. So they could certainly use a presence in the inside. Of course, Ed Ogeron might want to block him from going across to the PMAC too often. Well, fellas, congratulations. Certainly a great honor, and especially for 2020, the COVID year, to make some history, a silver lining, presenting a lineman, a defensive lineman at that, as the Warrick Dunn Award winner. Want to thank you all for watching tonight, and in hoping that you enjoyed the show, for Jacques Doucet, I'm Steve Schneider. We'll leave you with this at the end of the Sportsline Player of the Year show.
This is what it's all about. This is what we came for.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So let's go get it, fellas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's go get it.
Yes, sir.
Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Pass and volley. Go. That's awesome. That's awesome shit. Thank y'all. Get to the 0 and go.